Hello, 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 and welcome to Naked with Dr. Money. I'm Dr. Stephanie Ardrey, known as Dr. Money, and I'm so happy you could join me today. Let me tell you a little bit about Naked with Dr. Money. No, I'm not exactly naked, although somebody said that I shouldn't be teasing you guys like that. So when I do the workouts, I show a little skin just so that I can keep it 100. But the idea behind Naked with Dr. Money was to show the behind the scenes view of what it feels like when leading and growing this multinational global wellness company. Because obviously, if you're telling people that they should live a certain lifestyle, that they should manage their mind, body, and soul a certain way, I think the best way to impact one is to demonstrate, right? Is to model that behavior. But sometimes when you think you're modeling the behavior because the people are unfamiliar with what that may look like, they don't get that you're modeling the behavior. And so the purpose of Naked with Dr. Money is really me sharing sort of the behind the scenes journey, maybe the part that is not always visible, in how I exist each day and center myself around the challenges, the same challenges that each one of you are facing, possibly, those who are, dealing with family, dealing with community, dealing with your profession, dealing with your own wellness, dealing with your own mortality, its possibility. So, how can you potentially navigate your wellness and produce the desired outcomes? So, my journey the last couple of years had been disrupted like many of yours. The global pandemic definitely was a sharp reminder regarding the importance of the health and wellness. And I've had a long term interest in my health and wellness. I started off early, introduced to this idea of what I ate, what I consumed being important. That was first introduced to me by my mother. She introduced me to a book called Back to Eden when I was about 9. And we seemed to be a little bit weird. We were eating brown rice and all of these different weird things before they were popular things to do. But it was because my mother set an intention. She struggled with high blood pressure very early in her years. She was in her early 20s when she began to experience high blood pressure, and hers was brought on due to the enormous amount of stress that she dealt with. And I think seriously, an overabundance of cortisol release, which I'm sure participated as contributors to, sadly, her early demise. My mother passed at 48. She took a nap and had a aneurysm, a stroke, basically. And that was a pretty devastating period for me. I had just turned 30. So, you think that you're going to have a lot of time with your parents, especially if it is that they're younger parents. And so it's more than a little bit heartbreaking to lose my mom. And so I had to pick up the pieces and navigate a new path. And then I was blessed with a child of my own who, unfortunately, I would say did meet my mom on this side, but I'm sure their spirits connected on the other side, because I see so many of her behaviors in his young body. He's an old soul. But what I really thought about a few years back was I had taken what I thought was pretty good care of myself, but I started to think about what did I want my life to look and feel like as I began to advance along age. How would I look and feel at 80, at 100, at 120, and beyond? And so I thought that it was important that I sort of reset and get my wellness back on track. I had lost some of the early discipline that I had maintained in terms of my workout schedules. And it was difficult to get back on the horse when, I had so many balls up in the air. But thankfully, I was able to do that. I was able to get back in alignment, address mind, body, and soul, and begin to really be vigilant with nurturing myself in each of these ways. And so I recruited several people who've been along the journey with me to help. And one of those persons I'm going to introduce and share with you today is Jonathan Butler. Jonathan, we've been friends for a very long time. And so in the early days, we trained together. I remember my mother used to tease me sometimes. I'd be running stairs and running hills. And she was like, "What is he training you for?" And I was like, well, he's training so that we'll, both be healthy, we'll have this discipline in our lives. And, those early disciplined efforts I found really took me along the journey in ways that have helped me to find the strength, the inner strength and motivation to fight, to regain that discipline. So today, Jonathan and I are going to talk about, what a wellness journey looks like, how setting an intention for your wellness, how you go about doing it, and some of the things that you might consider so that you're not just bouncing from fad to fad. The goal of Naked with Money is to inform you, to encourage you, and to help you create a call to action for yourself so that you can address your mind, body, and soul. So, with that, I hope you'll join me in welcoming my guest, Jonathan Butler. Hey, Jonathan,
Hey, Dr. Money.
how you doing today?
Just fine, thanks. Thank you for the invite.
Yeah, glad you could show up. Well, thank you. I got a chance to actually do my first workout of the year up in Oakland. I'm a little embarrassed, guys. It's cold in Vegas, and I keep saying, okay, what, it's 40 what outside? I can't even convince myself to get out of the bed in the morning, much less go out. So that workout was, it was everything that I needed. And thank you. I survived.
Good, good. Short and sweet.
Short and sweet, to the point.
Got a nice little sweat going. That's good.
Absolutely. It was good. It touched on everything.
Right.
So, when we talk about working out, and I was sharing how, my mom used to ask sometimes when we were working out, running those stairs and running the hill, she'd be like, "What are you training for?" And it was like, we're training just to maintain our health and our wellness. And
Right.
so, when did you first set an intention that you were going to be healthy and that you were going to be disciplined along wellness? When did your journey
Wow,
begin?
that, I mean, if you could count being 12 years old and doing your first physical test at the YMCA, it was 5 push-ups, 5 sit-ups, cup squats, a little run, and then a frog hold. I remember that vividly. That was my first physical test at 12 years old in the summertime.
And
And
how'd you
oh, I passed.
do? I wonder if they even do tests like that these days.
Well, I mean, probably they do. Um, I do a summer program with children, and I kind of actually model my program off of that.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay, kind of the basics.
right. Basic, basic.
But
Just
is
like,
12 a little late or should one begin earlier?
well, that wasn't. I don't know if it was a set intent or not, but it just was a way when you're younger. You know, back. Well, I'm a '70s baby, so back then, having programs for children was everywhere. So really didn't have a choice, you know, to do the tests. My
Mhm.
mother, well, we were latchkey kids, but that was our summer for about 2 or 3 years in a row. The
Mhm.
YMCA, right?
I think the YMCA and the Park and Recs, all of those centers definitely contributed a lot to the foundation, and I think some of the organized sports, because I know that's how I got my son involved early. He was playing little organized, t-ball, from t-ball on up to a little bit of everything. And we spent a lot of time doing activities because I introduced him to like roller skating, and then we would run, and just I took him and introduced him. He didn't want to ski, he wanted to snowboard. So I introduced him to snowboarding. And then I said, if you like snowboarding, then you should kind of get into skateboarding so that you could continue to practice that balancing that you need when you're not on the snow. And it's interesting because I think all of those things really did contribute. But the most important thing that I was able to convey very early on when he was just a toddler was the importance of nutrition and what he put in his body, that if he wanted his body, because it was so funny, he was discovered at 4 and became a child actor. So his very first photo session, there's this little picture where he's in like a wife beater, and you could see he had little defined muscles already, but he was, 4, so he had little tears in his eyes because he's taking direction from the photographer. But it's such a cute picture because you see this little tone. And so I would explain to him why I didn't feed him certain things. And believe it or not, he took that. And so if he was with a babysitter or he was doing a sleepover and people would try to offer him sodas or, take him to McDonald's, he was like, no, my mom doesn't feed me that. And they're like, well, don't you want to sneak? And he's like, no, I don't want it because my body, he started explaining to people his body, and the kid has never had a cavity, never, he's like a walking bill of health, because of taking that to heart. And it's not to say that he hasn't had junk food. He has. And even in our recent assessment, we discovered, hey, you have some parasites in your system. So we need to detox those parasites out of your system before they can become anything more.
Right.
So nutrition, when did you correlate not only your training, but the importance of nutrition?
That's funny because my mother actually came home one day from a physical education class at a community college, and she had a healthy drink recipe back in the day, right? And it was milk, an egg, and orange juice with nutmeg in it, and that was probably the first time I thought I was being healthy. So going into that, I actually juice every day, which for me, that's actually my breakfast for my nutrition. But nutrition is so important. I mean, you could go in the gym and work out all you want to, but just don't go out and have lunch at Texas Roadhouse and put a steak in you. You're just defeating the purpose. So nutrition is a big part of a wellness journey. They say it's 80% nutrition and 20% of exercising.
80% nutrition.
Yes.
But I see people, and I know you see people at the gym, and right, it's what they're drinking, because it's not just about juicing. Juices can have a lot of sugar, and all juices are not made the same. So what kind of juicing are you doing that allows your juices to be, better than others? What are you putting in that juice?
Well, to eliminate the sugars, if you don't want any sugars, you want to you want to concentrate on green vegetables and red vegetables.
All right, so what are your favorites? So green, so that's like my arugula, my spinach, my
Yeah,
kale.
so I have a garden in my backyard, so I can go out and grab some collard greens, some kale, some Swiss chard, uh, red peppers, green peppers. I don't do spinach, haven't done spinach yet. And I actually, some celery, I grow celery,
Okay.
and I just mix it all up And usually to make it a little thicker consistency, I would add an avocado in there, and along with other herbs that I use. One being moringa is a really powerful um, herb, nutritional herb for you. And those are I just mix them up and make a blender and put it in there and drink it down.
What about supplements? Because I was just, in fact, I had taken a picture of the label. I'd sent it to Doc to look at because as I'm training and building muscle, I noticed that I added amino acid, and
Hmm.
I was trying to get the right formula of amino acid because, again, every product is not made the same, and a lot of the products are
Right.
not really what you think they are. So you must read the labels and you must understand those labels. So a lot of times it's not only just reading the label and then looking up the ingredient, but it's then even understanding what that ingredient does to your body. And that's where I need Doc, because I can get, oh, this is this, but what then is that doing to my organs? I don't know that, without that consult. So what kind of supplements do you rely upon, or do
Okay.
you?
Well, okay, so moringa is one. Um, I use sea moss also.
CMOS, okay.
Um, can't really say those are the two main ones that I will say I rely on. And as far as the other ones, it's a whole mix that you can try and say they tell you that it works. It's all about advertising, but black seed oil is powerful. Um, you want to have something with iron in it. Vitamin D3, zinc for supplements, vitamin C. This is a great season for vitamin C because all around in my city, you see oranges on hanging on trees now. And I'm raiding one of my friends' trees almost every day now. So I don't know. It's a lot. It's a lot of stuff out there. It can get confusing. Um, find just try to find something that might work for you. You have to take it a while and see if you can tell any difference while
Mhm.
you're taking that supplement.
So when I think about this, all right, let's talk about for someone that maybe has not been as physically fit and it's the beginning of the year, they're wanting to start a journey towards their wellness. They're not really sure exactly where to begin. What's a good starting point?
Now, far as working out or
Yeah.
working
Yeah.
out.
The beginning of the year, a lot of times people have set New Year's resolutions. This is a time that they want to get in shape and they don't really know where to go. And they're thinking about getting a trainer, maybe, maybe not, because again, all trainers are not created equal.
Right.
Equally. So what should, one know just on their own, even as they're exploring those conversations or even beginning the process of doing what they can do at home before they even, go out and take on a gym membership.
There's a lot of ways you can do it. You talk about mindset a lot. That mindset is really important. I mean, if you're going to do it, someone says they're going to go and eat at Chevy's tonight, they're going to Chevy's, right? So you want to well, a good thing you can do is research. While YouTube is great, a lot of people on there, you could look at them and see what they're doing. Another powerful thing you can do is find someone else because so support system is good. Also, I see people coming in the gym and they can be intimidated. So some people do hire personal trainers. Some people come in there and just do what they think is correct. As far as the machines. Um, I mean, there's a lot of books out there you can read. Um, well, I mean, there's a lot of things, but it just goes back to mindset. If you want to do it, you have to set your mind to do it. And you're right, there are obstacles to doing it. People can get discouraged really, really easily. So a support system in that instance would be very helpful in that instance.
Yeah, I follow meetup groups, and that's a
Mhm,
way that you can find people with shared interests. So a lot of times I'll look for a meetup group in a particular area, and then I know when I'm joining a gym, or even if I'm going to a different location of a gym, a lot of times I'll just have someone walk me through
mhm,
and explain, the setup and which equipment is available. Or if it is that it's new equipment and it's unfamiliar to me, have someone show me how to use the equipment.
mhm.
Or if I see someone using the equipment, I'll make observations about what it is. Now, of course, because I've trained for years, I know how to organize my workout as it relates to body parts
Mhm.
and to break up a pacing. I know how to identify what potentially works for me. So if I'm going to go and do, upper body or arms, and, making sure that I have the certain amount of cardio, and then I'm always going to make sure that I have some kind of ab for the core as part of a workout. And then, other times I may be working on legs, or some of these other things, but breaking it up so that for me, a good pace is about 3 days a week. Although when I'm in Jamaica, I notice I work out daily on the beach. It's kind of a morning meditation and grounding, just because being on the beach, you can't help.
Right,
You can't help but take that in. So I'm headed back. So, I'll get another few weeks of my workouts on the water. But at home, in the bay, when it was springtime, we spent a lot of time running the stairs by the lake, going to some of the different parks,
mhm.
doing the stairs and mountains, um, and again, creating different types of experiences, because I think since it's a lifestyle, you need variety.
Right. Very, very true. Very true. Variety is a big thing. So, for instance, I mean, I bike, I run, I hike. I just fell in love with hiking this past summer. Wow. Um, I don't swim. I mean, I know how to swim, but being diverse in your workouts is really important. You want to develop your whole body, not just one body part. Just going back to what you were saying, far as a meetup group, groups are wonderful for newbies because they're great. Um, wow, yeah. So
So meetup groups, and then, I think even family engagement, one of the
mm,
ways that I kept my son was, let's go skating, let's go roller skating together. We've spent times where we've just gone to the beach, and he might be on his wave board, and I, riding a bike, or I'm on my rollerblades,
right,
just enjoying a day out. So you have the family bonding and you're both moving. And
right.
that's what I've been saying to people. A lot of people are not moving enough.
Not at all. Not at
Not
all.
enough. And so, yeah, it's
You
like,
want to be able you want to be able to be functional in your everyday lifestyle. Um, like my mother is 84 years old, and she could get up and down in a chair 10 times in a row without holding on to anything. So
that's
you want to be able
excellent.
to be functional. One of the things I do when I get a group of people with a personal training is, especially if it's outside, first thing I do is tell them to sit down on the ground. And when the last person's butt hits the ground, I say, okay, everybody get up. Try that one. It's not that easy.
Right,
I mean,
right,
you have to be functional. I mean, you hear the old saying, help, I fall and I can't get up. You
right,
have to be functional enough to get up if you do fall at any
right,
age. Yes.
right. But I also find that some of my favorite exercises that I remember just um, doing planks at home, and so starting gradually, I remember I would set the timer where each night before I went to sleep, I try to, hold a plank for, I think, initially a minute when it, just until you could build up to, holding a plank for 10 minutes or
Right.
more, just building your core. And so finding ways that have low impact, but also can produce strengthening and help you build. I've shared with people who have joint issues, try to do laps in the swimming pool,
Right.
um, lower impact, see if you can just walk across and back and forth. And that slow resistance will help you begin to build up some strength in your muscles so that you can build muscles. Because, it's sad. I'm beginning to see people's muscles begin to atrophy very early due to lack of use. And, that's sad as you age to find yourself, you're already going to lose some muscle tone potentially as we age. And so that's why it's so important to build. And then what about strength training for women in particular?
It's good for women to I guess you want to say lift weights.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to look like Miss Universe, but you definitely want to be able to carry that backpack for 5 miles in an emergency.
Well,
That's
shoot,
the
my thing is I want to be able to pull myself up, right? What if you have to jump over something or you have to lift yourself up, you know?
Well, that's what I was saying. They say in a dire emergency, you would have to walk at least 5 miles. So along that way, you might have to pull yourself up.
Right.
So you really need to do any kind of strength training that you can.
Mhm.
Right. You start out just it could be specific movements, whole body movements, but you need to really stay active.
And what about, do you think, I know that you have a background with martial arts. I do as well. I studied Cheyenne, which was a form of kicking Kung Fu, which came in handy for me because I used to, but I had very strong legs because I was always a dancer and I ran track. And so, that lower body strength I always had. It was, how do you build the upper body strength? And truthfully, I would say that my arms are the most developed they've ever been in terms of really seeing the tonation and the muscles forming. And and of course I guess it helps having a son because he's always so I but that's a good practice. It's actually just forming, a muscle. You start
Right.
realizing that all of those little things help.
Right.
I figured out ways where even when I'm driving, I'm dancing in the car and doing like
Mhm.
hold my tummy tight, and
Right.
everything exercise in the kitchen. If I'm cooking something, I'm doing squats in between. It's like to me, it's my lifestyle. So I have to fit in movements every which way I can. So even though I said, hey, I hadn't been to the gym, that
Mhm.
didn't mean I wasn't working out.
Right.
Because I dance now almost every night in my bathroom. I have a dance party, and you know what? And I feel good. So it not only helps my body, but it helps my mind and my
Mhm.
soul, and it helps me ease into, you know, getting ready for bed to wind down. It burn off that extra energy that I may have, and then I begin to settle down. So,
Mhm.
any rituals that you have to maintain, you've maintained. So, martial arts, you've maintained a workout. How do you keep it going and interesting?
Back to mindset. I
And
mean, it's just something I love to do. I walked 30 minutes today on the treadmill at 15% incline at 3.0. Nice sweat, abs after that, and that was it. Short and sweet. Just mindset. Like if I know I'm going to work out the next day, I'm actually thinking in my mind the exercises that I'm doing. I don't know. It's kind of anal, but that's just what it is. It helps me get there and and get going. And if someone's on the machine I thought I was wanted to use, I just, I know how to deviate away from that. I'm not going to stand around and wait for a machine. But yeah, I'm pretty anal when it comes to working out. I mean, but on that note, you have to have rest also.
And that's something that people don't talk about a lot, but that's as equally important. I've been encouraging people to get the right amount of sleep. Doc is really one who suggests that you get the proper amount of sleep because he says that's the only time that your body can heal itself. So if you're depriving yourself of that really deep healing sleep, then unfortunately you're setting yourself up for the possibility of future dis-ease.
Hmm. Right. Yeah, I try to get at least 6 to 7 hours. Sometimes it's 8. So try to turn in by 10 at night. I'm up at 6 or 7 in the morning. I mean, that's a little more than 6 hours, but that's my goal.
Mhm.
Try to get sleep. And then I just don't jump out of the bed every morning now. So because I'm retired.
That part.
Don't
That
have to get up and run to the gym and then run to work. I take my
right.
time in the gym, yeah. So, and I would say like 3 to 5 days I'm working out.
Mhm. And
Other
then
days,
you take time in between to rest and recover.
yeah, just rest. Yeah, rest, stretch, eat good still.
Stretch. Oh my goodness, stretching, how important stretching is. And that was something that I struggled with a lot of times earlier in my workouts. But again, as I've aged, I began to realize how critical stretching is. Man,
Very,
it's so
very
important to
critical.
stretch.
Right.
Yes.
There's two different types of stretching, static and dynamic. So static stretching, you can do that plus dynamic before you work out. And then afterwards, you pretty much want to do static stretching, stretch the muscles that you worked.
Mm.
Right. And if you can incorporate that 2 times out of the day, that'd be optimal.
Wow. So I
Stretching, right.
still have some more things that I need to aim for as I
Right.
perfect this body journey.
Right. And don't forget yoga.
And don't forget
You
yoga,
didn't
and
mention yoga. Yeah.
yoga is definitely beneficial in terms of that mind, body, and soul objective.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
A lot of stretching.
Well, I just wanna thank you again for joining me today. I had so much fun getting my first workout of chapter 23 done up in the town, up at home. Any last thoughts?
Just tell everyone stay active, stay consistent. Don't be afraid to ask anyone for help.
That part, don't be afraid. Well, thank you, JB. And, do you want people to be able to reach out to you for a workout or you want me to give them that information in the future?
Future for now.
Okay.
Right.
All right. That sounds good. Well, I'll definitely have you back again when you're ready to share information and recruit potentials.
I'll be
But
available.
have help. Yeah. Thank you again.
Okay. Thanks for
I'll see
having me.
you soon. All right. So, everyone, again, I want to thank you for joining me on this journey of Naked with Dr. Money. I hope that as I share with you my behind the scene process through how I manage my mind, body, and soul while being active and engaged, in life with all of the same responsibilities that you have, it's a lifestyle choice. And so hopefully I'll share with you not only those who are on this journey or have inputs to my process along this journey, so that you can glean a few nuggets that may be useful along your journey. The goal is to inform, encourage, and provide you with a call to action so that you can get active and truly take on life, living your best life. Remember, it's 120 years and beyond. That's full life. So don't sell yourself short. Make sure you get all of those years in and then some, living your best life. And if you'd like to join us and allow Dr. Oliver and myself to assist you on your wellness journey, check us out at 420wellnessjamaica.com. You can begin with as little as your first week of wellness, and we'll put you on your path to accomplish your own wellness journeys. We believe wellness can begin 1 week at a time. So I'll see you next week at noon, another episode of Naked with Dr. Money. See you soon. Take care.